phalanx on the side of Yerbody, and they are even more switching to longswords, as you've mentioned before. I think they are now 8 longswords, which is so much of healing capability.
Remember as well, at this stage, there is no such thing as banning units as it will be later on in the stage, because it's just not happening. But there is no Spartans, and there will be no tier 5 archers because the tier 5 archers are obviously a relatively new unit in it. Only just released. When was it? The other week? Some point soon, anyway. Not that far away.
Yes.
So yeah, they're not to be used, and that is the only thing that we're not going to see picked. And so there's an option of plenty of units out there to be seen on the battlefield. We'll have to see where that comes from there. But with the high end theft side having so much cavalry, they yet to open that gate yet and start to use them. Maybe they'll wait to see the top of these towers and make sure they take the first set of them out first off, and then that'll be their option as they start to open that door, and out they come. Camels first off, leading the way. They're going to like break it off so they can bring the rest of the cavalry come flying out, but they're going to meet why yes buddy who are just sitting there ready and waiting. See
I
what
love
they're
the
doing here.
Murmillos to go first into the anti-cav, and now cavalry versus cavalry just all around. We will see how it turns out. The trap only trapping the Yerbody players, which is painful for them. But in the end, we have to still wait how it comes out. A lot of anti-cav still on the field for the attack. And it feels like the defense is struggling with the Sally outs, and they are slowly being taken out. Only 8 heroes alive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. I was expecting that exactly to go as it is going. If you're going to sally out like that up against Yeah Buddy, you're going to have to do a little bit better than that because Yeah Buddy looked like they were expecting it from the get go. They're already capping A. They've got the heroes killed on the other side there. They're up against 5 more to the advantage for now. And in terms of units as well, they've still got about 180 units advantage. I mean, it's looking good for Yeah Buddy to start off with. And the amount of tier 5 that they have available after that first sally out is phenomenal. There's a big difference in almost 200 units. So, yeah, high end theft, I don't think they're going to be happy with that. And definitely haven't stopped any momentum shift here from Yeah Buddy.
That's for sure a point almost kept, and 2 more units of Anticav being picked here. With now 3 sets of phalanx on the board, it will be a hard challenge for the defense to go against this. There will be a lot of hero play involved, but like you said, the units are just looking so good for Yerbody at the moment. And I see the 5th unit of phalanx being brought to the field now. And yeah, but he is now aware of the strategy of high end death, and I think that will at least be the B point captured. But maybe they can just move on to the end point and don't even have to go through 3 full sets of units.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an easy enough time to kind of work their way in. They're just waiting around because there's no reason to push on yet. They're going to make sure they've got all the correct units before they start progressing towards that B site. Obviously, easier said than done for now, but High and Theft has retreated herself back to home base where it has to be more important to hold off.
At the moment, very slow approach from here, buddy. They are still gathering the units outside the main gate. Nobody willing to step inside the ram. They are waiting for the ram, which is very smart, as we know from here, but they are not taking any risks. They're waiting for the towers to approach the walls and the ram, destroying the gate, because otherwise the gate could be closed from the defense and could interrupt the attack, which could really hurt Yabadi there with reinforcing their own units. So now could be about the time for Yabadi to start. They will probably wait for the second siege tower to arrive at the walls, and then they will finally go to the B point, I expect.
Yeah. So people might be watching at home thinking, why have they done that? Why have they waited all this time when it looks like they were just going to run over the top of them and they were doing so good, great in their attack inside? Why didn't they just keep the full momentum going, go towards B? But like we said there, there's that option that if they do send a set up there and go in and high end wipe them, they've got the chance to then go back, take the siege towers out, close that gate, and then it deters that time. You've obviously got a limited amount of time. We're down to 10 minutes, but obviously that time will go up as they capture B, if they capture B, that is from Yeah Buddy. But the majority of us will probably agree that it is probably more than likely going to be captured at some point, and it will be very soon as Yeah Buddy start to make approaches down the stairwells and try to find their point of attack, knowing fine well that none of the units are anywhere near B. It is just heroes at the moment.
Yeah, but also heroes can be dangerous, and I think the heroes might try to bring the units to themselves to uh, call them for support when your body is taking any over aggression there. But as you can see, yeah, but he's not even going down the walls at the moment. They are starting to place the ballistas to try and take down the high end deft heroes.
Yeah, so you're limited still to 3 lives, right, aren't we, on, CBL rules? So
Yes.
that means using all these ballistas in this high-end position with all the units up there, it's gonna be very difficult for high-end theft to use artillery to stop it because 'cause they're limited on that defense. They've got only 10 pieces of artillery left, make that 9 as they've used 1 that mortar does take out one of the ballistas there on the Yeah Buddy side, but Yeah Buddy have plenty to use. You can see on that top left-hand corner of your screen, they have 26 pieces of artillery to use, the majority of which will probably be ballistas because they want to kill heroes, and if you kill heroes more than once, that's gonna give them a little bit longer of a respawn timer. Then the second time they die, that respawn timer goes up. And then if you kill them the third time, that's it. They're out of the game. They can't come back. And then that's a unit. If they've not used it, they're out of the game as well. So you're up on numbers, you're up on hero numbers, you're up on everything. And then your buddy have pretty much got a free take whenever they wish to take it.
One of the mortars of the defense now also doing some great work from the left hand side, now shooting into the units. You can see it in the bottom. And the impact still very small from the ballistas of the attackers. I see 15 heroes alive from the defense, so they managed to stay alive, even though there's still 3 ballistas on the walls, and 2 shots can just take you out immediately. Still, nothing really lost for the defense here. They can come back from the first fight if they do correctly, if they defend correctly, and if they don't over aggress anything here, which they don't at the moment. They
Yeah,
just stay
exactly that.
calm and give your body the space they want.
Yeah, well, B has been captured. The extra time is added. We are now back up to 10 minutes for them to opportunity to push on through, and you can see them all going down them stairs towards that supply. This may be where they start to change up their units going into that home base attack. But as that's happening, high end theft have got their heroes and got their cavalry coming all around to try and support on the outside of that tempo. They don't want to be in on that home point because it's very trebable. There's plenty of trebs still to be used, still 12 of them. So high end theft are putting into positions where it's a little bit harder to be targeted, but they've also got cavalry to roam around the streets. So that's what they'll be looking to do. But we'll see what yeah, buddy have to offer in their attack here as they start making their way forward.
Yeah, it seems like Hein Deft was looking to defend the street in front of the endpoint, but now falling back even behind the endpoint, which is interesting because they are giving Yabadid space to set up the phalanx, which is never a good idea when you only go with cavalry. But maybe they have an idea with it. Otherwise, it will be a short defense of the endpoint here. And now Yabadi's moving towards the left side supply point, trying to get another supply point even closer to the end cap. And if they manage to do so, there will be not much time left for the defense before they will be pushed on the endpoint.
Yeah, keep baiting these artillery placements. They only put one down, even though they're baiting a couple just to see if the opposition will force to put their artillery down and start using. But here comes the Treb flying on in as units start to progress towards that corner. It's actually done pretty well. It does take a couple of units out, but look at how the tight congestion here of Yeah Buddy. I feel like if High End Thefts try to send in here, there's just far too many units in a cluster that's going to stop this.
Oh, the units are just being sent in, but too much phalanx. 2 or 3 units of phalanx braced to the front, 2 units of phalanx braced to the back. You cannot go into this position with the flames, with the phalanx and the shields. It's just a waste of cavalry. As you can see here, the units are dead, the heroes are about to die, and it's only
That's
three
it.
heroes left from the defense. That should be it. If the defense can't bring anything else, they will be just overwhelmed on the endpoint. And that's exactly what we see here. Units and heroes moving to the endpoint, looking to end the match now as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to be it all but over here. Massacre on the outside there. Everything was just cavalry flying into sheer death. That's not what you want from high end theft. You want a little bit of a higher end gameplay. It didn't seem that way, but as we are looking at it, You're going to get an easy opportunity to go over onto home and block off the players from that respawn. And High and Fifth are going to have to do something magical to turn this around here because they're down to 9 heroes and only 250 units. And the respawns are going to be simultaneously. They're not going to be all at once. So it's going to be one after the other, and it's going to be slow and steady. And all these tribes are just going to absolutely massacre as well. They've got plenty to use, plenty of artillery still to use, and I don't think they're going to have to use it at this point.
A lot of cavalry now coming from the left side, being met by one unit of phalanx, which is killed already. And now going to the endpoint, which is about or 4 parts captured. And I don't see any chance for the defense to come back on it. Maybe the NU Dows, they are stepping on it for a second, but I don't see an opportunity here to end this pressure from Yabadi. And that's it. Endpoint is captured, and Yabadi is taking the first match.
But he did, where they used a lot of them. Didn't really get very many picks from them. It didn't look like anyway. But they did find a lot of kills on the heroes in the opposition because they were pretty much into that supply point. Not the cavalry set up to be sending flanks as much as the high end theft squad had. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this time. This is going to be a longer match, I feel like, because it might go the distance in time, and rather than it being completely capped. So we'll wait and see, unless they just wipe everybody out and decide, right, that's it, end game.
I already see a lot of heroes from Yabadi going to the top of the walls, taking the default artillery and not trying anything like a Sally. No Wolverines being placed at the moment, so we might see a different strategy than the last year on Hidden City from Yabadi. Falconetti already in place, shooting the first tower, which is nice to see. And the Lion Roar on the left-hand side, also on the walls, building their first cannons to take down the left-hand siege tower.
Yeah, that's it. And you can see plenty of coverage and plenty of musket players here for that Yeah Buddy roster as well. They're also going to help to take out the siege towers when they get close and personal because they can use their bombs and their explosives to make sure that that slows the pace down of that as well, and potentially take the units out below if need be as well, because that will also slow the down and stop the push if you can wipe enough of the units out. So they'll be using that to their advantage where they possibly can, because you've got muskets at the front, you've got muskets at that side wall, you've got them everywhere, and culverins placed all over the place. But at least High and Theft are clever to that. They've got plenty of mortars placed. They're setting these mortar shots over the top and trying to pick out all these culverins.
Yeah. Speaking about the artillery placed, High and Deft have already placed half of their artillery. They've placed 15 pieces of artillery. I only see mortars, so I would expect it's actually only mortars. And they are raining down their shots into the city on the stairs and trying to take down the units behind the walls and also for example, the Lion Roar on the walls. But they are not doing well so far because all the siege towers have been destroyed and they will have to start the siege tower run once again.
Yeah, so first phase of siege towers are down. Remember, there was already placed artillery on the walls already, which is gives them a little bit of help to start off with. Yeah, but he didn't have to use as many artillery, but this time around they've got 9 more pieces of artillery to put chance. So they maybe send players down, collect that from that supply point, and then for that second phase of siege towers, then place these artillery pieces down again to make sure they waste even more time with the second set of siege towers. And if they wipe that down, it almost makes it a little bit easier in the long run. I'm pretty sure these trebs are staying alive though in the background. I don't feel like they are targeting them this time round. I don't feel like they need to do it. They don't have to change the strategy to that kind of scenario at the moment. But
Absolutely. And the line draw on the left hand side is already placing their cannons once again. And I think the line draw cannons on the right side are standing on the walls ready to be used. Not sure 100% there. But as you can see, the left hand siege tower is almost taken down already. The muskets of the defense doing a great job in destroying the mortars of the attack and with that defending their own line rows. Because at the moment, the biggest threat of the Lions are those blue mortars from high and left, and those being taken down is a great advantage.
I've seen an extra addition there. Falconetti Gunners are making sure that these front siege towers are falling as well. And that is another unit that has not been played very often recently. Well, in the last one, they tend to be banned quite a lot because there is no ban picks of units or that just now. They are gonna be a unit that could be well and truly used, just like Yeah Buddy are doing here to make sure that none of these Siege Towers will make the distance, and that is the second set of Siege Towers completely wiped again, and Yeah Buddy have still got 4 pieces of artillery to go, 7 minutes to keep that defense strong and potentially have the chance to hold A here, because there's nothing really getting made any further forward for high-end theft.
That's true. And we can see here on the left-hand side, the heroes of High and Deft now gathering and climbing the ladders to make sure this time the siege tower will land at the wall. And we will see if they might make it. First hero of Yabadi is being defeated, and there might be one of High and Deft following that.
Yeah, maybe, but there we go. It's a couple of trebs going at the top there, taking a few damages, but nothing major as they send heroes up to the left hand side. One of them is a dual blade who's going to be fighting for his life. He's got plenty of players chasing him after him, but he's managed to dip diving and go and viz for a bit to stay alive, and will decide to jump off that wall. And don't think, does he die there actually? I think he did. I think he was weak enough that he actually fell and died, but that's a bit of unfortunate timing because he took enough damage that the fall has wiped him out as well. And that siege tower goes down on the left hand side there as well. Not to mention the siege towers at the front getting whittled down slowly but surely as well. And yeah, buddy, I'm still holding the ground on top here and on the walls and looking good for that defense still. Units still to spare, plenty of them.
That's absolutely what we used to see from Yabadi, just taking down all the siege towers is so impressive because usually at least one makes it through. But yeah, Buddy is managing to take down all of them every single time before it even gets close there. And I think a big part of that is just the hero play from the muskets and the longbows, making sure there are no mortars on the field for the attackers and just taking down so much artillery. I mean, 5 minutes and 10 seconds left, and it seems like the siege towers are being destroyed once again.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that is going to be the first set done and wiped. And there he goes. The final one does fall. The hero will fall from the top as well. And yeah, I feel like we might just be sitting at a stalemate here, back and forward, where we see siege towers going down. There's still 2 pieces of artillery to do that as well, and then, yeah, I don't know what High and Theft are gonna have to do here because they keep sending heroes up this wall as well, and don't know what the plan of action is here once they get to the top, because all it means is they're gonna get chased down by plenty of musket players that are gonna slow you down and try to wipe you off of the board, and that's exactly what's happening here as Too Lazy finds Iron, along with a few others that might start to fall here as the fight is starting to make way. Zekin falls still Too Lazy as well. And there we go. The scimitar class has just shown his prowess here as he's wiping every single one of these heroes off and making sure he's going to potentially find his third. There is Amia though instead. He's uses the longbow from a distance and takes out Bravo. And yeah, it's looking good here for the Yeah Buddy roster.
One thing I love about the hero play of High and Left is they are bringing the new rune with the flame ability. When you die, there's this huge flame field. You can see it there on the Falconetti. And they're using the flames and the burn effect on the units to place traps on the exact position because the units can't move out because they are burning and then the trap hits them and does additional damage. And with that, they have wiped at least some of the defenders' units. They have wiped one Lion Roar and now taken down some of the Falconetti. So there might be a chance to at least get one Siege Tower this time around, even though they are both looking so low once again.
Yeah, exactly. It's not looking good for the high-end theft roster, and they're just going to be struggling. They've not even opened the front gate or even tried to go right. They're not working with these siege towers. Why not shut that gate down, try and go in through the front, and then go up the stairs? It's a hard task to do. It is very difficult and to try and orchestrate that. But what else have you got to plan apart from climbing up these ladders, which is what they're starting to do here on this right-hand side? But that's going to go and be met by players starting to kick him off. And Tulis has found another kill. I'd like to see his numbers actually. He's got plenty of kills already so far. See, where is he? He's looking at
3 hero kills on
3
the
hero
top.
kills. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. He's on top for sure.
And like that, the units climbing ladders are being dealt with. But what you didn't see before, the main gate is almost destroyed or was almost destroyed, was on 1 HP and is now opened up. The units climbing the ladders were just a bait to eventually get some of the heroes and units from defense out here, but Yabadi just too organized for it, not overcommitting on the walls, just keeping the units in the gates and like that, holding on strong here, flames from the defense shooting in, and that is a hard point to entry for the
Yeah.
attack.
You're literally stuck in a hard rock between a rock and a hard place, and it's a very hard place as a cavalry charge comes flying out here from Yeah Buddy, wipes pretty much every single unit, and Yeah Buddy are just going to charge on out here, but realized they're going to be met by flames. The Treb actually takes out a few of their own flames, which is really unfortunate because you're now whittling down your numbers on your attack. You're down to 1 minute and 50, and that is going to be pretty much all she wrote because A is still on the walls, and you've not even broke through the gateway yet.
That will be a hard task for a high-end dev. They have managed to at least get one foot in the city here, but that's immediately met by a full unit of flames from the defense, and I see limited chances for the attack to make it through as another unit of hussars is meeting them in the gate.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Pretty much just going to be whittling down now. They're just going to keep sending things back and forward. But I feel like, yeah, buddy, I've got the chokehold here, and they're just going to hold them till the end, until that timer ticks out, because that is the only way this game ends. It's not going to be ending any other way. And I'm sure High End Theft are not going to be happy with the strategy. Remember, though, like we says, the Spartans were only told about recently about being changed. Maybe a lot of their plan revolved around them for scrims and such like. That might have been the case, but whether it was or not, we weren't going to see 15 versus 15 Spartans. I'm pretty sure that'd be a very horrible task. So I'm kind of glad that that's been the case because it just lags the server too much. And it's already bad enough. We don't want too much going on. There's so much action going on in the screen. And we'd rather show you some swift gameplay and some good games. And that's exactly what's happened here for Yeah Buddy. It is a clean 2-0 here. 33 seconds left to do. There was a wee bit of tick progression made over on A, but not enough to take it and add extra time. And the player that is up there is now just being squandered on. And then he will now bow out, say no to bow, but he is now bowed out of the game and will be ending in the first matchup, going down 2-0 to Yeah Buddy, the reigning champs.
Yeah, we can see a desperate last trap here hitting the units of Yabadi, but that will not change the outcome of this match as it's 3 seconds left. And with this, Yabadi takes this best of three with 2-0.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Yes, it's me who was the MVP for the attacker side of